we thought the session went, Matt, today. The feedback from the learners was really good. They weren't too concerned about the pace, but me as the lecturer, I was quite concerned. I felt that the lower level end group were taking quite a lot of time writing from the board, and so these two groups, our middle and our higher end learners, were at times maybe sitting, and there wasn't a great deal of it, but I still felt that the session lagged a little bit, and then they've not had as much time as possible to then move on and push themselves and extend themselves. You did make a suggestion. What do you think I could have done? Anything?
I mean, I guess really the two ways you could work around it with these guys is you could have maybe had printed sheets, so they could have had the information already printed.
For that group, or for maybe all three?
I think
groups?
just maybe this group, because I think the other groups, they're writing, they're up to there on their writing already.
Yeah.
And then they're moving on to where they are. The other one is, I mean, you could have sort of maybe had labels that you maybe cut and stick in.
Right. Okay.
The only issue I think you might have with that is if these guys get to do it, it sounds a little childish, but I think, to be honest, they quite enjoy doing something a bit different sometimes. If these guys are doing it, you might find some of the others might say. But
Why
I mean,
aren't we doing that?
Yeah, I mean, I know. I think you obviously reflect a sort of similar thing, maybe slightly changing up a bit.
Yeah, I thought, as you said, I mean, although I don't feel like they were misbehaving or they weren't engaged, I felt like they were engaged the whole time.
Definitely.
But I felt like they could have maybe pushed themselves. They could have got onto the extension task that I had set, but because this group were quite slow, that was something that really, we maybe need to address in the coming weeks. That is there something we can set up where that group have it already, and these two groups work along with us, so we can speed the pace of the session.
I think if the writing was taken back, because I mean, to be truthful, their writing's good, but they're quite careful.
Okay.
They're quite careful writers, whereas I think maybe Kane, Harry, other people, maybe just much faster pace writing. So I think they like to be very sure of sort of what they're doing.
Of course.
I mean, I think that would alleviate it if they maybe had it that they could just sort of put it in straight away.
Okay.
And I mean,
sorry. No. Just going to say just to move it on really. The level of work. I think it was good that we had. We used something that they were all involved in with the data and stuff, like with their shoe size. Because I think it gave them a bit of ownership.
Yeah.
It made them a bit more engaged as well. And then the level of work with my two tables was probably pitched perfectly. And obviously, if they would have had another 10 minutes, which with the pace of the lesson, in my opinion, they would have then got onto the extension tasks and moved through them. What's quite good as well, and I'm sure it happened on your table, you tell me a bit about it in a minute, was that we managed to do a little bit of marking throughout as well, so they were getting some instant feedback.
Yeah.
So they knew what was right, they knew what was wrong, and then they were able to go back, look over those questions, and with that instant feedback, being able to say like, oh, that's why I've got that one wrong. Did that happen on your table as well? Can you explain a bit what happened?
I think in essence, when you do the session, Emma Riles walked in this morning and she didn't know what a median was, and she's walked out the session being able to say to you what a median is. Same with Chris Lloyd in terms of mode. I agree with you. I think next week they probably do need to do a little bit more just to establish the key things. But it is a lot. It's ambitious for them to do. Yeah. But I'd certainly say I think they took a lot out of it, and I'd say they're 75% maybe along where you'd hope they would be. Which, in all fairness, I'm sure at the beginning, you would have been happy. But
I think all we'll do now is we'll just adjust the scheme of work, put in another week of this, because I still think really that we could stretch these two higher end groups and just make sure the foundations are in on that group and go from there. But apart from that, mate, I was very pleased. Pace would be the only thing that I'd like to speed up.
I think it was excellent, Mark.
Good work, Matthew.